Okay. I just wanted to tell you guys something that I wrote down. I didn't want to forget it. It goes like this. Everything I'm saying is true, which is unusual. But every single thing is true here. My first guitar teacher came over to our house when I was 6. He smelled of mothballs and had a wooden leg and a glass eye. We had an old guitar that I found in the attic, and it was missing a couple strings. I would run around the living room with that guitar, banging on it like I was Elvis Presley singing Jailhouse Rock at the top of my lungs. I loved Elvis, and I would sneak out of bed to watch his movies late at night. Well, the day of my first lesson, I was beside myself with anticipation. The doorbell rang, and my dad answered, and I stood there from behind my father, watching the old guitar teacher limp in, talking about his wooden leg. He smelled like a closet of old clothes and had a leather satchel with music books, a metronome, and spare strings. The first thing he did when he sat down was show me his glass eye. He popped it right out of his eye socket. I was shocked and speechless. He asked me if I wanted to hold it, but I was too scared. He put a couple of new strings on my old guitar and he stretched them with his wrinkly old hands. He tuned the thing up and played a couple of chords. I was so excited and I was ready to rock like Elvis. Then he pulled out a book and told me we were going to learn the Mel Bay guitar method. My first song was Down in the Valley. It was so boring, I'll never forget the feeling of my heart sinking. The song was slow and plodding and nothing like an Elvis tune. Before I knew it, the first lesson was over, and he was limping out of the door with his glass eye back in the socket, making me promise to practice every day. I hated it, but I didn't want to admit it. It was so hard to concentrate on reading single notes in a boring song. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. I was wasting my talents. I wanted to be Elvis Presley, gosh dang it. My parents made me practice for 45 minutes every day, and I fought them tooth and nail, but a funny thing happened along the way. I got used to it, and it became a habit. It became my secret, and then not so secret best friend. Me and my guitar, always together through life, through thick and thin. Have a bad day at school? Get pushed around by the bullies? Play the guitar. All of a sudden, the problems fade away with the melody and the meditation of the sound of the strings being plucked. I'd always know if I was having a good session if drool dropped out of my mouth while I was playing. I'd forget to swallow and be lost in a passage, and all of a sudden a long string of drool would appear and sometimes drop onto either my leg or the guitar. Somewhere along the way we moved from where I was born, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, to Pasadena, California, and then finally to Palm Springs, California. Swimming pools and movie stars, a new guitar teacher, classical guitar, bar chords, and popular songs. A mixture of everything. The Beach Boys, Fernando Caroli, and Bach. The teacher's name was Cindy Lamb, and she was an upgrade from my first musty old guitar teacher. She smelled better and didn't pop her eye out of her socket at strange moments. Plus, she taught me Elvis songs, and she was a California blonde. Yes, I had a crush on her and the guitar. Sigh. I wonder where she is today. One day I was sitting in the living room practicing Jailhouse Rock when I was interrupted by a phone call. It was Dave Rice, our neighbor from across the street. He was the manager of the Palm Springs airport.
Hi, Steve. Grab your sister Kathy and ride your bikes down to the airport. Elvis Presley will be landing in a private plane at 3 p.m. You guys can meet him if you'd like.
Holy jeepers! Yes, Mr. Rice! Yes, we'd love to! Are you kidding? Well, we rode our bikes as fast as we could with our hearts thumping through our chests. I felt like I'd never pedaled that hard before. My sister Kathy was riding even faster. It was probably 115 degrees outside on that hot summer day. Mr. Rice let us ride our bikes on the tarmac, and we waited and waited and waited for a full 30 minutes that seemed like an eternity. Finally, Off in the distance, we heard the engines of a plane buzzing towards us. We heard the squeak of the tires as the plane landed. It looked like a mirage across the runway with the heat rising off of the white-hot egg-frying pavement. We ran the 100 yards as fast as we could. The door to the plane opened and out stepped Elvis Presley, larger than life. He was dressed in black leather and looked so cool. It was comeback special Elvis, and he was in great shape. He waited for us to come to him. Rockstar Cool Handbook rule number 1, wait for fans to come to you and act like it's business as usual. He had it down pat. He smiled the most charismatic smile I'd ever seen. Even in that bright desert sunshine, it was 1,000 watts.
Sounds like you kids been a-running,
he drawled. Yeah, to catch you, Elvis, I squealed with delight. He picked me up in the air, swung me around, tossed my hair, shook my hand, laughed, gave me his autograph on a piece of paper he casually ripped out of a notebook he was holding. It was 1969, and he was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Next, he hugged my older sister Kathy for what seemed like a long time to me. Like really long. I remember feeling kind of weird, like maybe Elvis liked my sister more because she was a girl. I wanted to maybe protect her or offer her up. I couldn't decide. I play guitar too, I said. Your sister sure is pretty, he replied. It's okay, Elvis, you can have her, I screamed in my high-pitched voice over the sound of the whirring propellers. He laughed loudly and talked to us a little while longer. He never seemed to be in a hurry. He looked happy and peaceful, and that's how I'll always remember him. I'll also remember myself as trying to pimp out my sister to a very relaxed Elvis for a record deal. I feel like he would have talked to us all day until finally one of his assistants came up and said, "Come on, boss, we gotta go." We waved goodbye to the king and rode our bikes home high on the trail of success. Nothing could ruin our happy moods. Sure, the Vietnam War was looming over us, and assassinations, drug overdoses, and bad news were all over the papers. But all we knew was Elvis Presley was our best friend, and we were fans for life. When I got home, I pulled my trusty guitar out of the case, and I practiced for hours. That was the night I learned how to play I Can't Help Falling in Love with You and Blue Suede Shoes. Life is full of memory markers that fade into each other. Some memories are brighter than others, and this is one I'll remember my whole life. The day I met peaceful Zen Elvis and offered him my sister.